they have been barking and thinking of population control, right?
Yes.
That has been always, like the battle cry, population control.
Right.
And this has been the strategy. This has been like the only thing you can do.
Right.
Now, if you try to also look after...
Especially for people you don't like.
Yeah.
People you think are lower than you.
Yeah, true. But you see, as if you look at what has happened in the past and go through it now, looking at now, there are complicated issues and perspectives we also have to consider. If you recall, Pope Benedict XVI points out the problem of relativism.
Right.
See, and it's an issue that also is a mindset that becomes problematic. And because also of that perspective, that type of thinking, moral relativism, you have your own choice. You have your own autonomous freedom to do this. You want the easy way out. No? So everything becomes so accessible, something that you can do. And you look at Freud and the pleasure principle, I would rather resort to this than do continence, than make a sacrifice.
That's right.
So it becomes really a come-on for states, for propagandists who promote this mindset about population control and also dealing with the exploitation of poverty. I would rather put it this way, even though it may be a long-term process. I think we have to be more proactive in evangelization. A formation, a catechesis must be seriously dealt with by the shepherds, by the church, by the lay people. Because you already have a law. See? It's allowed. So what do? You go into communities, try to evangelize families, make sure your Catholic schools have the Catholic moral principles that those studying will truly understand and imbibe. I think a more proactive process, though it will be long-term, could be something that should be seriously thought of by the church.
And, with that, the church has a good history of pointing out when laws are evil laws. Pope Pius XI condemned Nazism, the nationalism, the racism, the anti-Semitism in his great encyclical Met brennende Zorge. And he laid it all out. And even if the world doesn't listen, we have to lay it out and say, an evil is evil, and we may not cooperate with that evil. And I think, something that you said earlier about how the faith of the Philippine people, that also gave them hope in the midst of horrible tragedies.
Yes.
They could overcome that. And, calling people to see, yeah, it is hard, to take care of children. Sometimes it seems impossible. But I remember my mother in her last Christmas said, I have no idea how we fed everybody, but we did. God took care of us. And I only wish I had more of you. That was her dying regret, that she didn't have more kids. And because all the stuff goes away, but your family is there with you. And this is and a family that trusts in God is there with you. And this is something that I think we have to say about evil laws.
Yes.
This is evil. Here's the good. I'd also like to point out, you mentioned from time immemorial that people have tried to, population control. Few people realize that the increase of abortion and then infanticide, especially of girls, in the Roman Empire in the 3rd century, made the population radically go down. so that when the barbarians attacked them, they couldn't defend themselves. And that was one factor among many in the collapse of Rome. And we all have to be aware. It was the Christians who would not do contraception or birth control. Both were forbidden from the first century. They continued. The church they tried to execute is still here.
Yes.
The Roman Empire is gone. Good to remind politicians that that's their fate, too.